Honeybees. You've probably heard of them, and I'm going to assume that you've enjoyed eating their honey, too. But are honeybees really as great as we've been led to believe? Very often, we're told that if we change one behavior, like buying organic food, it will instantly have a positive impact on the environment. But just like a bad fad diet, there's usually no perfectly correct answer to any environmental question. Honeybees are one example of an environmental topic that's more complicated than it first appears. If you've heard about honeybees in the news recently, it's probably because their populations are in trouble and people are looking for ways to conserve and protect them. But should we? Beekeepers have been dealing with a problem called colony collapse disorder, or CCD. CCD causes bees to die in large numbers and for commercial colonies to, like the name says, collapse and stop producing honey or performing pollination services. Wait, what was that word? Ah yes, commercial. This is where concerns about honeybees get murky. I researched the issue and found several sources that describe the problem from various angles. One paper I found in the journal Conservation Biology turned what I had previously thought about honeybees on its head. The authors of the paper argue that since honeybees are managed in commercial hives for pollinating crops, this isn't a problem for conservationists at all. Instead, they think it's a problem that should be managed by agriculture experts. This point is further supported when we realize that the honeybees we're talking about, Apis mellifera, aren't even native to this continent. Commercial honeybees are a non-threatened species from Europe, which makes them technically invasive to North American ecosystems. Does that mean that honeybees are still a conservation concern, not because they need our help, but because they're part of the problem? The authors of this paper think so. They provide evidence that honeybees are affecting local ecosystems in many of the same negative ways as other invasive species. For example, if CCD is caused by a disease or a parasite, large numbers of honeybees being trucked all over the continent to pollinate crops could infect native bees, causing them to suffer the effects of CCD as well. Honeybees also tend to outcompete our native bees for pollen and nectar from flowers, which can cause two problems. First, native bees that aren't able to compete against honeybees will die, reducing biodiversity and any pollination services those species might provide. Secondly, honeybees directly or indirectly help non-native plant species produce more seeds and become invasive in threatened native ecosystems. For instance, if large numbers of honeybees prefer to pollinate an invasive plant like red clover, then the prairies I study could be overwhelmed with that particular plant. On the other hand, honeybees can cheat the system by biting through the backs of native flowers and stealing nectar without pollinating the plant, unlike native bees that have co-evolved with those native flowers. So while honeybees may be a charismatic species that grabs public attention, it's important to remember that the natural environment is a complicated and interconnected system. Protecting honeybees isn't as straightforward as we might have thought. I've posted a link to the article in the video description, where you can also find the primary author's Google Scholar page and her website, where she lists more of her publications about native bee populations. I hope this article causes you to take a second look at the current discussion surrounding honeybees. I know I did. Remember that most problems in environmental science share a similar story. They're usually more complicated than they first appear. It's important for us each to do what we can to properly inform ourselves about these issues. If you liked this video, don't forget to like it. If you didn't like this video, please share it with someone who would. And if you'd like to support the Roving Naturalist, remember to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification icon. You can also follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and the first post is now live on the Roving Naturalist blog. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.